is live. All right. So we are on everywhere. A couple people on Instagram. Got people on Zoom. Where are we at on YouTube? All right, so just wait a couple minutes. Promote some stuff that's coming up. So I've got Snowflake, which is Necessary Outlet's first feature film. That, first of all, if you want a free viewing of it, it is going to be at the Hot Festival, which is courtesy of Dixon Place, and that is tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. If you check out the stories if you check out the link in any one of the Instagrams, the History Instagram, Necessary Outlet, my personal one, you will find links to watch that tomorrow night. There's a suggested donation, but it is free. It's at 7:30, and you get to watch the full movie on their YouTube channel. If you can't make that particular screening, it is going to be available to rent and to own on Vimeo on August 4th. So make sure you can pre-order right now. There's a link in the bios everywhere. So go ahead and pre-order Snowflake. It is an LGBTQ political thriller written, directed, and produced by myself. I have a supporting role in it, but I am not the star of this one. A handful of history faces. You'll see Gio plays a character in it. You'll see Warren from season 3 is the lead. My therapist from season 3 is in it. I'm sure there's more overlap. There's got to be more overlap. I think Elias from season 3 that wasn't Elliot. We changed the name. He's a background person and stuff like that. Anyway, it's a big movie. It's great. Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern is the movie tomorrow night on the Dixon Place website. Links in the bio. Okay, so that's it for plugs. I think that's everything. All right, so we are going to watch the penultimate episode of season 2. I'm just going to cue it up here. It's called Friendiversary. So if I remember before we watch, and actually I'll remind you all where to get it while I come up with memories. So youtube.com/necessary outlet, one of the very first playlists on the page is going to be History Season 2. You're looking for episode 5, Friendiversary. So if I recall, this is the one that bounces from, we've got the house party at Jamie's, we've got Gio's concert, and bumping back into David, his old boyfriend. And the B story, the flashback story, is his brother, and really laying the groundwork for why him and Will are fighting. So this really starts to open that up. If I recall, the David storyline was not supposed to be David. It was supposed to be something else. Oh, so long ago. So the return of David at the end was supposed to be someone else, and we wrote the draft, and it didn't work, or changed into being David. I forget who he ended up going home with. It definitely wasn't Jared. It wasn't that we didn't do that. But I remember it was a different storyline. We changed that. The other thing about this episode I remember before we watch it is, so we filmed Gio's concert at the New York Opera Center, and they were really good to us. And we wanted, because there's a line about like the lights being too purple, and so we were like, okay, we got purple gels, we need to put them on the house lights, and their lights were too hot, and so we started filming And I was like, does everyone smell fire? Like, I smell fire. And we looked up and all the gels had just been burned through and they became like gelatinous and like got on the opera center's like lights. So we're like, oh shit, don't tell anybody. Like, okay, let's turn off the lights. They cool down. Let's do other stuff, do blocking, do this and that. Then it was cool enough. We were like scrubbing them clean so that like we wouldn't get in trouble and like have to pay for like new lights. But they put it on. So like we didn't do it without them knowing. Like we gave them the gels, they went up and put them on, but they did not work. So we had to do all the purple stuff in post. Oh, and that Gio doesn't sing. So the actor who plays Gio doesn't sing. So this was all dubbed later, and like he sings literally like I wanted him to sing the whole song, the character, but he just couldn't. And we worked so hard just to get like 2 lines out of him. It was I was like, oh boy, we might need a voice double. All right, so hopefully everyone's found the episode. That is 205 Friendiversary. We are going to hit play for all of you with us in 3, 2, 1.
All right, you pick. Whatever you want. So whenever I want, I'll come in. It's fine. You've officially addicted me to Archer. Oh, so we could start Star Trek TNG. Okay. Okay, so the creator of Archer also did the shows C-Lab and Frisky Bingo. Frisky what? Trust me, it's good. No, we need to be fair. You pick. Frisky, whatever. Seriously, it doesn't matter.
So we broke down the apartment because we had to make this seem like it was first season. So I remember disassembling the apartment to pack it up and like cellophane wrapping the star. I remember doing all of that.
What time? 6. You know it's 5:30, right? Have we been sitting here for 5 hours? I need to get ready. Oh. What are you doing today? Nada. Do you want to come? To meet your brother? Yeah, just come hang out and have dinner. He's straight, so the two of you can talk sports. Ball. Is he hot? He's 22. Is he hot? Gross. You lead. I follow.
I haven't seen that scene in a long time. Oh, the old apartment.
This is treason. Stephen chokes at large parties. I had to throw something small, so you give me the A team. This was perfect. So you had to throw my part. You do not have a monopoly on Drag Race. You take so much from me. My time, my energy, my youth. Did not have any of those when I mentioned. I told you I was bringing 1 friend, yes. I meant 10. Where are the pastries?
I love Ted. He had a great time this season. Oh, drunk Jacob. Oh, his jacket was so squeaky, it was hard to get sound.
Did you start where you came? Just a little bit. Careful there, it's on Monday, okay? How are you doing? It is what it is. Where's Will? He said he wasn't coming.
Oh, so that music is my song Satisfaction. Again, I used all these beats eventually to make music. Oh my god, this scene, we cracked up. We did this so many times.
Oh, come on, you're a star! Jamie, tell him this drink of water that he's a star. You are both stars. Can you believe this handsome man is a writer? I mean, I'm sure you're really talented, but you're kind of depriving us all by not putting a really good-looking face on stage and screaming, oh, right now. Speaking of stage, we got a show this weekend, and do you sing? Just leave my name. Tell me to sing. I absolutely do not sing. I sing enough for both.
us. I've got a small show this weekend, set of original songs mostly. Jamie, you bought your tickets, right?
Tickets are purchased. The rumor is the Geo is exceedingly talented.
Well, I'm not to spread rumors. Could you just spread that particular one to all of your other party guests, your friends?
I loved Gio. It was such a shame. This actor, he's so great, and
That's for you, sir.
he just has great moments. He really just fell off the face of the earth after season 2. I wanted him back for season 3, but he kind of disappeared, which is a shame.
And we just talk about our creative processes and like our most recent projects.
So I can guarantee he will be there because he is my +1. We're going to get dinner beforehand, but we can definitely go out after, get a snack, get a drink, celebrate your performance for sure.
Of course. Matthew. You know, do you think Matthew's got his tickets yet? Because I'm always having to harass him because sometimes, I just feel like I'm his mother. But then I remember I had met his mother, and have you met Matt's mother? Yeah, she's a delight. Matthew?
I think your friend just asked me on the page. Oh, my friend definitely just asked you on the page. I'm glad you came. This time. I'm really sorry about that.
It's fun. I remember with these party scenes, trying to stage it in a way that it looked fuller than it was. We only ever had 4 or 5 extras for any scene that we were doing, so
It's really important to me that you meet my friend.
it was fun to figure out ways to just make the room look more crowded than it actually was.
So which one's the one let's talk about? I'm into it.
Oh, we filmed at Therapy, I remember, for a bunch of this, for a piece of this episode. Oh, they're here. This was it.
Grinder will be there later.
It's not Grindr, it's work.
And they were always very, very nice to us. Unfortunately, the bar manager who let us film there all the time, who was wonderful, stopped working there, and then we were never able to really get in again. The new guy wasn't.
So which is it? Because
Wasn't
I
great.
want fries and onion rings, but let me know if I should say or to make that happen. You need to get a new job.
I need to get out of the wall.
Hey, Mr. Fancy Pants Law Firm, you make 6 figures. This fries and onion ring splurge is about to put my car at risk of rape. I miss out on your car. What kind do you have? It is Jamie's 1997 Dodge Neo. Shit.
Yeah.
Well, this is a fun
I
scene.
like to feel close to you.
Why are you always so sticky? You've been working on your fitness. No. This is nothing. Behold. Look at it.
My body, my choice.
No, seriously, unless
I'm not fondling your new boyfriend.
he is not my boyfriend. Really. He's my best friend.
Nah, I don't buy it. No one likes you.
I'm gonna fart on the pillow that you used tonight.
And I'm gonna take a shit on your kitchen counter.
I like their dynamic. He wasn't.
I'm sad.
It was a shame we couldn't get. That's Brian Sedita. He was wonderful. It's a shame we couldn't get him back for season 2, only because part of the storyline is the brother needed to have gained a lot of weight, and Brian is a stick. So there was no amount. I don't have the makeup department to make that happen. So we just had to get a different actor. But it's funny because the actor who plays Mac in the 3rd season actually went to school with Brian, so they knew each other.
What's now? Sorry, guys. How long will it take?
20 minutes, but inevitably she'll want something else, like her favorite pen couriered from her desk or some other bullshit. So, like an hour, say.
Go take care of it.
That is an accurate depiction of being a lawyer, however.
Can I start calling you better, Jamie?
I'm gonna start calling you the recently deceased.
Go. I'll come for family meeting. Aww. Bye. This is RuPaul's Drag Race. Is it blasphemy for you to not be here?
Oh, this was tough. The camera movements in this one, it was hard to do. I forget why. But I remember like literally walking back and forth from that bookshelf like 10 times to make it happen.
Jamie told me it was just
What? I did not tell you he was just a fuck.
Will saw the guy he was dating with someone else. Right after I saw the guy I was dating making out with someone else. And instead of trying to comfort him, Jamie told him he was just a fuck.
I did not say he was just a fuck. What I said was, okay, so Will was dating this guy.
Maybe instead of trying to explain yourself, you should just apologize.
I did. He doesn't return my messages.
Then give it some time.
Time? We go to Puerto Vallarta in 2 weeks. Thanksgiving. Like, we don't have time. Alright, now I gotta know. Are you dating or am I just a fuck?
Jamie said, oh no, you couldn't be here. We don't get to meet those. There was this one though with his phone under a twiddle top that Will ran into.
Silence!
I'm starting to like this guy. I think we have some follow-up questions. Excuse me? Shantae, you stay. Sasha, away.
I think
I'm so sorry that your boyfriend sugar.
You have good taste.
I just thought we were dating that whole nugget.
Have you heard from Cole? No, he's not returning your messages either. I feel complicit. I wish I hadn't told you to go and get it back. He was back home. You're really trying. I'm not satisfied if I'm not the full-time job. I should have trusted my gut like I did as well. Oh, so that was the issue there too? Yeah. Wow. Margaret's a little bog chaser.
oh, it seems like these where it's like these guys like the friendship really shines. I really like
I did
it.
not say you told me you rebounded.
Like you can really tell in the later season too, like that we've all started to gel.
It's fine. That's fine. Get the paper towels.
So much fun walking home. He's having too much fun tonight.
Mommy, I'm so sorry. Embarrassed.
I mean, we were just at a party dressed like a giant tampon. Just trying to some perspective.
He said he'll meet us back at his apartment in 30. Cool. So, how long have you two known each other? Since the summer. You seem to have gotten pretty tight, pretty fast. Well, we actually went on a few dates first.
Oh, there's a good moment in this. I remember telling Brian, I was like, there's a moment when like
It was really
Mac
good timing.
knows before anyone else knows. Like Mac knew by talking with Will and hearing how Will talks about Jamie.
It's fine. I'm a schmuck. I didn't hate him, but I'm not sad it's over. Now, David was. Yikes. Alright. So you have 30 minutes. You need to use the time wisely. We've gotten 6 embarrassing stories from your
And you can really believe this guy is Jamie's brother, I think.
Most embarrassing moments myself.
They have similar sort of speech patterns. That's the moment. That's the moment when I told him, I was like, that's when you know.
What's that about? Jamie's obsessed. Well, I know that. I just dodged having to watch it. But why? Well, I think it's just. I don't think Jamie really had a lot of friends growing up. So he just spent a lot of time with the TV and with his Star Trek toys. I've got an embarrassing story for you.
This is a true story about me.
Alright, so our family has like no money, so all my school stuff growing up was Jamie's old stuff. So when I got to high school, I got his old backpack. So I'm cleaning it out, and you know how in like the 90s Star Trek they had those little pins on their chest as like walkie-talkies? Yeah, he has one. Of course he does. But yeah, so there was like one in the bag, like from a toy or something. Right in the front pocket where you keep your pencils and shit. So I asked him why he has one in there, and he said he started carrying one on him back when he was in elementary school. He hated the other kids so much, he was he hated the other kids so much that he would pretend that he was on a secret mission from the Enterprise during school. He would imagine that his real friends were the crew back on the ship, and that this little pin was the only way that they could keep in contact. He would have this like Running scenario.
So I remember my real brother, being critical about not liking the characterization, and he was like, "I'm not this much of a dick." I'm like, "No, I let the actor be more like annoying kid brothery."
That's great material.
But I remember my actual brother being like, "I'm not like this." I'm like, I didn't coach him to be you. I gave him a character and let him do what he wanted to do.
Jamie, these are your friends from the Enterprise. We've decided we hate you. That's so wrong. You can tease him about it. I've desensitized him. But that story is gold, so use it wisely.
How many did you have?
Well, Kyle and I used to split a bottle of pregame. But now that he's spending all of his time with Instagram Elite, I guess I like have a whole bottle every time.
Careful there. Something bummed about the other night?
It is what it is.
Yeah, you said that. You know, I want you to remember.
This was a tough one to do too, because we decided to do his one walking shot. So the cameraman is like walking backwards as he's doing this, and it was kind of an uneven street.
Yeah, it's really
This is
great.
down
Very
Commerce and Bleecker area, I
But
think.
then it's just getting to know me. That seems to be the turn-off.
That's not true. Do you think, as attention hungry as Kyle was, he would have kept hanging out with you if he didn't like the ball?
So I'm good enough as long as nothing better comes.
If anybody has any questions about any stuff that happened on set or
Like forever.
any stuff, I don't have to just like rattle off random memories. I'm happy to share some. I love that shot so much, that door shot.
Try taking it as a compliment. Just don't want you to leave.
So Jamie seeing himself in Kyle.
It makes no sense.
Please stop.
You found me one that I could talk baseball with.
Shh. Men are speaking. Get out.
Do you have any new music for me?
Did I send you Joanne?
Pass.
It's not that bad.
Can't get into her new face.
She got around with the hair.
Nah, she got that before the album. There was this video months ago of this little like Ecuadorian kid or something comes up to her and he goes, Gaga, sing me a song. She's like, okay. And so she does. And like
I've seen
the
this
middle
video.
of
It's
an
weird.
airport or something, and then the camera gets closer and closer to her, and that face girl. I need to go back to Philadelphia immediately.
I think it trains in an hour.
Fuck. Can I shower quick? Hey, I really like this one. Mm-hmm.
Don't you read me in my own house.
I will wring you to filth.
I have ruined you for all women.
This episode is like 90% Drag Race references, I realize.
So this is part of the night where you tell me not to be so hard on myself?
Oh, this is a beautiful shot.
Uncomforting.
This was early. I think this was one of the first 2 scenes we filmed
Just dragging
for the
out
whole season.
Matthews.
This was very early.
What do you mean?
William is not speaking to you because you screwed up your attempt at comforting him. And you just took your attempt at comforting me and turned it
Oh, we just stole this stew.
Your problems.
We were just praying that someone wouldn't come out and yell at us.
Oh, I didn't mean.
It's fine. It's just your thing. I'm weird. She goes over the top. Says opinionated. William is stubborn. Maybe. Still love you though. Good night, Mom.
And it's good to get other characters' perspective on Jamie. Because the first season was all through his eyes. So to get like another character being like, you're the needy one, you know that, right? Like that.
Hey, B.
We're just finishing up episode 5, if you just joined.
Very drunk Matthew home, and he told me that. Just thought we could catch up when I walked home.
So this then is the first moment where, so Bianca has been texting and leaving messages, and like, we know that there's something going on, and she's been doing it through the whole season, and he's been too wrapped up in his like love life to pay attention. And this is the first moment where he's kind of like, I need to talk to B, but it's because he feels bad about the Will situation. So it's still him thinking about himself and his own needs and what he wants. And it's not until later in the episode that it really hits home from Gio that it's like, there are other people in the world who have other problems, and you are not the center of this. I think we filmed this at the very end, like we were done, and I'd forgotten to get this or something, and I don't know who's holding the camera, but we just did this real quick. Jamie wore a lot of solid color long sleeve tees in this season. I'm noticing. And all dark. It's either gray or black or purple. Oh, I love the new texting effects. I still use that same template I use for all of these. I think if I were doing this now, I don't think they would be, there's a lot of, I like that kitchen angle. I wouldn't do a head-on angle. It'd be kind of a moodier shot. I'm very excited. I was telling JJ, who's the lead in Snowflake the other day, that I'm very excited to do new projects when we can start filming again, because I feel like I've learned a lot. And watching this helps me as well, like of how to do more visual storytelling. At the very beginning, like History Season 1 was just, it was the story, and I had like an hour or two in each set, and just like make sure we get everybody saying everything on camera. Like it really, there wasn't a lot of attention played to like shots and like the kinds of shots we wanted. And then Season 2, we did a lot more. And then Season 3, we like really upped like that. All of Season 3 was storyboarded before we filmed the cameras. Every single shot was pre-planned. So it's Jamie's like so many gay men or men in general, selfishly generous, and that you notice a lot of. I wouldn't agree with that.
Purple?
Looks great.
You sound a little down, sugar. What's wrong?
Just friend stuff. Boys stuff.
I think in this season he learns a few lessons in that, but I wouldn't characterize
He had a good excuse. I can't.
Jamie's.
I mean, I'm just being sensitive. It's all this like
Yeah,
Will and Colin stuff.
I think maybe you have some particular experiences.
I think I just felt alone for the first time in a while today. You know, it's really sad watching TV without having Bill or Colin.
Wait, who's Colin? Oh, one of the ones that's in love with you, the little nugget.
I really did have feelings for him. I was not leading him on intentionally. He accelerated, right? When I was like decelerating. And I've done the relationship before, but sex doesn't work. It's a disaster.
So again, this is really the culmination.
We just lost the minimum attendance. We're good. Oh, thank God! Isn't he gorgeous? Yeah, he's really fun in bed. I met him a few months ago through one of the apps. You should look him up. What would you have?
Yeah, he literally is just steamrolling over the fact that Jamie,
Both of them.
well, that Gio is kind of upset.
One of them says that he loves you. The other
Because he hit on Steven, not realizing he's not upset about Steven, but just this like all of Jamie's problems are based on the fact that he's debating between these different men that are interested in him, and Gio was like, I would like one man, please. Like I'm having a hard time dating, and I have to like console you on the fact that you have so many options.
Gio, everyone adores you. You know that, right? You're the joy of every party.
What's wrong with that party, Gus? Huh? Which one of your little crew says, oh, I really like to fuck Gio tonight? You all laugh at me, let me entertain you, but all the problems you're having right now, Jamie, you just gotta take them somewhere else because some of us can't really relate to the great dilemma of whether to date the butcher, baker, or candlestick taker. Some of us only have two options, right? I could drop my voice down an octave and act as straight as I can, trying to be something I'm not, which I promised myself I would never do again after college. Or I could just be who I really am. And pray to God that somebody finds it attractive. Knowing there's a sensible risk to know that you will. Those are the options I know, Jamie. I want to talk about those.
Oof, that speech. That was the audition thing too. Oh, that speech is rough. So the woman who all the things are covering, she was our exec producer, and she like totally bailed on us at the end, and really like betrayed the production by like. She ended up being terrible. So I found particular joy in finding ways to cut her out of shots. I never said I wasn't petty.
Where is he? Where are they?
Well, they've already been to a show before. It's not their thing. And so am I, so it's not really a big deal.
Well, you're not like them. You show up and you support your friends. Alright? So I need you to drink some fucking coffee and get in a fucking cab.
Well, Mommy, all right, great. I'm gonna talk to you later, okay, Mommy? Have a good night.
Happy.
And of course, we couldn't afford rights to any songs. That's why we like cut forward very quickly. I mean, the only songs we can do are the songs that the one that I wrote. That's the one that's coming up. And this is kind of loosely based on, so before I did history, the first thing I did creatively here was I did a show at the Duplex and did a whole bunch of covers and this and that. So this is sort of taking that experience of mine and putting it in Gio. Oh, this is brutal too. This is the Torture Jamie episode. It was just like, let's just like hit him with a brick over and over again. This happened to me too. Someone was just being... Oh, that's funny. That picture, again, that picture is the guy who plays Ted's boyfriend in season 3, who was the waiter in the earlier episode. Like, he just shows up all the time. That's Hans Berlin, who was a porn star. And all these boys were also, all these boys were in the orgy scene. And then Jared. And to show how this was like, you know, Jamie was using, like, Jamie was under the impression they were just hooking up or whatever, but apparently this guy had some level of feelings or something.
Now I feel like it's just 6 years. So I wrote this song after my last breakup, which was a while ago. But when I was writing it, I swore to myself I never let anyone make me feel that way again. But sitting here tonight in front of all of you, I think I can take that risk again. You take the sofa.
And then we recorded that in.
Together, you take the pictures we took in the fall.
And that's the best we could do.
Take all the bowls and
'Cause he's
the dishes.
he did a great job. It just took a while to get what we were getting.
I won't need them at all.
So Justin Randall, I talked about this in his first episode, in episode 2. He is understood this guy's anger. Jamie was honestly getting his hand. Well, okay, so we have a comment about Total Top's reactions to Jamie. So we haven't seen, we've only seen from Jamie's point of view. We've only seen when he texts and he comes over. And we see in the text message she's saying he tried several times to hang out with him. He tried. So you get the impression through the messaging that Jamie was always just regulating him to sex category, which we see Jamie does all the time. He has people that it's like, these are dates, these are friends, this is sex. He doesn't mix. These are categories. They don't meet. They stay apart. So this was to show someone unhappy with their category. We only ever really saw the interaction between Jamie and Total Top through Jamie's eyes.
Yeah, Jamie, stop being so serious. Come on. I was just a little nervous before the show. I get sensitive. I'm a performer. I mean, come on, as an artist, I have to feel all of the feelings and then share them with you. Okay. Jamie, often those of us with the most polished performances have the hardest hearts. Probably because we've been hurt the most.
It's so good.
Still in New Jersey City? Worried I'm violating a restraining order? That's long since expired, sure. Not for a long time. I've been filling up. A friend of mine helps Gio with his arrangements, so I came out to see the show. Small game world. Indeed. You look good. I mean, tired, but good. Well, I've been going through a lot lately, so thank you for that. I always thought you look good. You know that. You've seen someone?
And then seeing here that Justin's the actor, that David is now putting it's this constant sort of category shifting. It's like, well, we dated, and now I'd like to have sex with you again, but that's all I really want. So it's all these emotions and this sort of like, you're now here and now you're here, and I look at you this way, but you look at me this way. And all these mixed messages in terms of how people.
Do you really think that's a good idea?
How people cast sort of the people in their lives and how it changes.
It's our thing.
Oh, this scene. And we were able to get The Office from the first season. I still have those. I hold on to those props, the gift and the letter. Oh, this scene. This is a killer scene.
So what changed? Time. Right. And you got a bunch of knives in the last few months. I'm sure you have to. You're
I've even felt smart with some of them. It's just whatever I have with them just paled in comparison to what I thought you and I could have had. I didn't stop thinking about you. You were a hard one to beat. I haven't been able to.
The fact that Jamie's speech from the very top of the season also fully encapsulates Will's feelings.
I want more. With you.
And that's really like this whole I guess this whole series this whole season could be described as sort of just like cross signals, mixed messages. Like that's. Oh, we only had 2 of the boxes. I was like, Will, you can only do this twice. I remember I was holding the camera on this one. And they hadn't met yet because they didn't meet until the first episode of this season, which this is maybe like 2-3 months before. Hey, Tom. All right. I gotta say, I mean, it's probably not a thing for me to say because I wrote the fucking thing, but like these get better and better. This is a good one. I like this one. Final thoughts on this episode. If you have any questions, log them in now. Oh, when he threw it down the garbage, I yelled, "No!" Yeah, so sad. That was a sad one to do. I remember when I edited that scene, because I was editing as we were going just to make sure I had what I wanted. And I remember going home and editing that scene and then being like, "Oh, this is a good one. This is one that really gets you." Yeah, and then the next episode. I mean, the wind down. You know, our episode 5s are always pretty. It's not the first season. Not the first season. Season 2 and season 3. Episode 5 is always a big kick in the nuts. Yeah. The Steven I thought was great in this episode. I really love Roger, who plays Steven. He was a great have for season 2. I think that's the end of Colin. I think that's a wrap. I don't think we see Colin again. Ted has some great lines in this, and seeing the friendship between Ted and Matthew this season was fun. Seeing them bond, I thought was fun. Gio, of course, wraps after this season because we couldn't get the actor back, and he was already the second actor to play Gio. Yeah. All right. If there are no more questions, I've got. So final plugs, of course. Snowflake, Necessary Outlet's first movie trailer on the website. If you would like to watch it for free, though there is a suggested donation, which I would appreciate, but it is for free. There's a link in the Instagram bios for a festival tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. The entire movie is going to screen at their link. It's Dixon Place. They are an independent theater in New York by Black Widow. Yeah, that's pretty much the only new project now. I'm working on some stuff, but obviously I can't film anything right now. So we will be back with you next. Thank you, Tom. We will be back with you next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, to watch the final episode of season 2. We may take a break after season 2 and take a week or 2 before we start season 3. So that's an emotional journey. So go ahead and check. We'll check you back next time. And if you need something to watch in the meantime, if you haven't caught up to history, you can, of course, catch up with season 1 and season 2 up to this point. And don't forget our 2 comedy shows, which feature many actors from the history shows. They're on the Necessary Outlet website or the YouTube page. Millennial Memoir, which stars the actor that plays Geo, and myself. We did a season of that. And Big Law, the series about being in a big law firm in New York. They're both comedies. We did them after history. Check them out. Let me know what you think. And the podcast Community, which is a serial drama. That's dark. It's dark. So trigger warning on that. There are episodes on YouTube you can listen to, but they're also available on all the podcast networks. Community by Necessary Outlet. All right, that's it for tonight. I will see you all next week. Mwah, mwah.